on December 30th, will be an unrestricted free agent after his 23rd NBA season. Despite LeBron's uncertain future with the Lakers, he told reporters at the Lakers media day that he's not worried about his contract situation. LeBron has a one-year deal with the Lakers for $52.6 million. He gave no indication of a possible timeline for retirement, but he did confirm that he has no intention of waiting to see if his younger son Bryce will reach the NBA. Bryce is a freshman forward at the University of Arizona. Unlike his brother Bronny, Bryce is not considered a one-and-done prospect for the NBA draft in 2026. Bryce could be at Arizona for a couple of years. By that time, it's very possible LeBron's retirement plans will no longer be a mystery. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hello, KBLA delegation. Tavis Smiley here. On Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech becomes the epicenter of ideas that matter. The Left Coast Forum is bringing together voices that challenge, inspire, and illuminate, with keynote presentations from people like noted economist Richard Wolff, the man who breaks down capitalism in ways that make sense to working folk like you and me, and Dr. Cornel West will be there, the brilliant philosopher and activist who never stops fighting for justice and speaking truth to power and to the powerless, for that matter. So this isn't just another conference. This is where ideas get tested, where the conversations that shape our future begin. Multiple plenary sessions, dynamic speakers, real talk about the issues that impact our communities, and then some good food and a live band. Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech, Left Coast Forum. The event is free and open to the public, but you must register at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can also peep the plenary topics. The future belongs to those who show up and engage. So don't just think about change, be part of the conversation that creates it. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters, your presence matters. We'll see you there.
Revenge. I'm mad. Got to get back. I need some get back. Payback. Payback. That is. Payback. Revenge. I'm mad. Get down with my girlfriend. That ain't right. Whoa! Talking, hollering, cuss. You wanna fight? Payback is a thing you got to see. Hell, never do any damn thing to me. Sold me out for chicken change. Told me they had it all arranged. They had me down. That's the bank. But now you're punk. You got to get ready for the big payback.
It's the Godfather of Soul, sounding as funky as ever, James Brown.
That's where I land.
On Tavis Smiley. In this final hour of today's program, two conversations as promised. On the B-side, actor Quentin Plair previews his latest role as Coach Byrd in the highly anticipated new Hulu series called Chad Powers. It premieres today. We'll give you some sound from that and talk to Quentin Plair on the backside of this hour. We commence this hour in conversation with Hunter College professor Joseph Viteritti on his new text, Radical Dreamers, Race, Choice, and the Failure of American education. Professor, good to have you on. How are you today, sir?
Good to be here, Tavis.
Let me start with this, and we'll jump from there. This title jumped out at me, of course, when the text came across my desk some time ago. And again, delighted to have you on. I want to just break this down in pieces. Why radical dreamers?
Radical dreamers are people who look at a problem in a new way and try to define the kinds of things that are basic to creating these problems, who like to think outside the box, who like to ask questions that other people don't want to ask, and who are willing to give answers that other people don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm. The subtitle, Race, Choice, and the Failure of American Education. That, of course, is a damning indictment about education in this country. You're not the first person to offer it, and yet I've done this so many times in my career that it leads me to ask, when you say the failure of American education, unpack that word failure.
The failure I'm focusing on is the failure to close the gap defined by race and class 71 years after Brown v. Board of Education, which said that schools should be desegregated and education is a right that should be made available to all on equal terms. We haven't done that. That's the failure.
Mm-hmm. And we haven't done that. Why? Is that intentional, or am I overreading it?
I think it's conscious.
Mm-hmm.
It's a function of policy. It's a function of what people in charge did and did not do. Choice is one big part of it. I very much focused on the choice debate and the issue of vouchers in charter schools, which remains controversial. And it's a wonderful story about how people who pretended to be allies of those who were disengaged, who were disinvolved,
Mm-hmm.
It proved to be very poor allies.
Mm-hmm. How would you define or describe? I've been at this for a long time, as have you. So I've had this conversation more times than I can count about choice.
Sure.
How would you describe and define the choice debate right now in real time?
Well, the choice debate has taken off in a different direction. When we first got involved in the choice debate, back in the 1990s,
Mm-hmm.
those of us who supported it were supported programs that would target kids who were stuck in failing public schools. And the idea was to give them an option and to get them out of those schools and put them in non-public schools so they could elevate their learning. That was the beginning of the movement. People like Howard Fuller, who was a major mover in that, is one of the key characters in my book. What's happened now with choice is it's gone in a very different direction. Instead of targeting poor children and those who are stuck in failing schools, it tends to, we're moving towards a model which makes public support of non-public schools a general benefit that is available to people regardless of their income. In doing that, you kind of set the stage for providing lots of support for people who don't need it and insufficient support for those who do.
Yeah. The book is called Radical Dreamers, Race, Choice, and the Failure of American Education. Let me just say right quick, and Joseph Viteritti and I can get at it when we come forward here. I was never a fan. I've been at this a long time now. I was never a fan of this choice movement. And what I said then is where I still stand on this debate now. You heard him say that this debate about choice has gone in a different direction these days, even for those who originally supported choice, like Joseph Viteritti. I never did. My point then and my point now, it's not just a slogan. I recognize that slogans are not solutions, but I just came around to saying that it's not about school choice. It's about how we make all schools choice. Again, slogans are not solutions, but it's not about school choice, but how we make all schools choice. And so what I never liked about this debate from the very beginning is that the notion was to pull out certain students in failing schools and give them a choice. But that always seemed to me to be an abandonment of the public school system model altogether, rather than working on how we make that entire system choice for all the students who are in it. Because the truth of the matter is that most Black kids, most brown kids, most poor kids are always going to be in public schools writ large. So it becomes if it becomes an effort to pull certain kids out and to give them choice, then we're abandoning all those other kids who have no choice but to stay in those public classrooms. So if the question should have been, for me at least, how we make all schools choice, how do we bring public education up all together and not pick and choose certain students who are subject to a lottery and how the ball bounces as to whether or not you get out of that public school. I digress for now. Our guest is Joseph Viteritti. The book, once again, is called Radical Dreamers, Race, Choice, and the Future of American, the failure, I should say, of American education. More when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Stop settling for weak sound. It's time to level up your game and bring the boom. Hit the town with the ultra-durable LG X Boom portable speaker and enjoy vibrant sound wherever you go. Elevate your listening experience to new heights because, let's be real, your music deserves it. The future of sound is now with LG X Boom. And for a limited time, save 25% at LG.com with code FALL25. Bring the boom. X Boom.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-259-9922. 800-259-9922. That's 800-259-9922.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned into Tavis Smiley.
The book by Hunter College professor Joseph Viteritti is called Radical Dreamers, Race, Choice, and the Failure of American Education. Professor Viteritti, why were you for choice back then?
The same reason why I am now. I sympathize with what you were saying, Tavis. The problem is we haven't delivered. Public schools have not delivered, and there are policy issues that explain that. 71 years ago, Brown v. Board of Education said we should desegregate schools. People should not be prohibited from going to school on the basis of their race. 71 years later, public schools are still segregated. In 1971, the California Supreme Court found that the amount of money we spend on poor kids and the amount of money we spend on privileged kids varies significantly. And it led to lots of litigation. In 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court says, well, we know there's inequality there, but, spending is not something that is protected under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. And so we see these stories go on and on. What gives me confidence in choice today is just looking at how people have benefited from it. If you look at charter schools, for example, where we still spend less money on those students who go to those schools, the most significant data that comes out shows that those kids, the kids who go there perform better, and minority kids, minority Black and Latino, Black and brown kids who go to those schools much better perform than their peers in neighboring public schools. How do you argue with that when you see such widespread failure? And then we see some examples of success. We've been this promise has been going on for 70 odd years. I mean, I've been in this business for a long time, and I feel like we need to have an honest conversation about it, figure out where we've gone wrong. But in the meantime, when I've met parents who have been giving a scholarship to go to a different school or given the opportunity to go to a charter, they act like you've saved their child's life. It's something to experience and to watch the passion in their faces of how they feel that their child is doing better. And you're right, there aren't enough seats in those schools. The reason for that is because the people who oppose them go to state legislatures and lobby so that schools are, that there's a cap on who can participate in those programs. There's a cap on how much can be spent in them. We have a waiting list in New York State for charter schools. It's over 170,000 kids. They're mostly minority kids, and 80% of the kids who go to charter schools in New York are economically disadvantaged. And so, we've got to, the promise that was made has really not been delivered on. And that's why I think we've got to create alternatives for these people who are not being served.
You mentioned policy 2 or 3 times already in this conversation, and I want to see where this line is between the promise that was made and the policies that came forth. So since you've indicted these policies with regard to how race and choice have led to the failure of American education, let me rephrase that. You didn't suggest that. The subtitle is called Race, Choice, and the Failure of American Education. But you have indicted policy. So unpack that for me. What is it about the policy versus the promise that's gotten us in this mess?
We don't, not to get too much into the weeds of pedagogical issues, but we know what to do. We know we need clear curriculum standards. We know we need instruments for evaluating how well students are doing that are tied to those curricula. We know we need remediation, real remediation for students who are not doing well. We need to train teachers better. Public school teachers are as much a victim of this scenario as anyone else, because it's no fun to work in a school that's not succeeding. And so have we put resources in the right places? No, we haven't. We've spent more money sometimes, but whether we've invested it well is a different story. And again, it's gone on for generations. And when you speak to parents whose kids are in those neighborhoods, they feel so desperate. And so it's hard to watch that play out and know that if we give those people choices, the same kind of choices that middle class people enjoy. Derek Bell, the father of critical race theory, has written on this, and I deal with him a lot in the book. He says very clearly, he says, you know what? When middle class people, white or Black, don't like the school they go into, they go elsewhere. They either have the resource to go to a high-priced school district where they spend more money on their kids, or they have the resources to send their kids to private school. These kids don't have those resources, and that's why we have to give them choices.
Yeah. No naivete with this question, but since it is a subtitle, Race, Choice, and the Failure of American Education, what's race got to do with it, Professor?
Race has everything to do with it, because if you look at our failure, race is one of the best predictors of failure in American education. And that's not accidental. We like to, one of the major characters in my book, Ron Edmonds, who was a close colleague of mine in New York, wrote about this many years ago. He said there is a prevailing view among even high-powered researchers that holds that the reason why Black kids fail is because of their home environment. They come to school with a cultural deficit that schools just can't overcome. And he said that was nonsense, because he was able to do research that shows when you run a school correctly, when you do the right things, then you see student growth. And so, I think we've come to the point in this country where people take failure of certain kids for granted and assume there's nothing we can do about it. There's no alarm about it.
Yeah.
We get alarmed when we see the test scores going down generally. The test scores that came out for high school just a few weeks ago, the reading scores are the lowest we've had in 70 years in all of recorded history. The math scores from high school are the lowest we've had in 50 years. There's something wrong here. But if you look closely at the data, it's not just general failure. It's a lot of these averages are brought down because of kids who either at a lower point of the economic ladder or the black and brown. And so, yeah, I think this is a racial issue, and I think we need to face up to it and talk about it.
Speaking of race, what's not lost on me, and I want to just give you a shout out. I love the way you unpack this, particularly this issue, that is, where you unpack it in the text. You make it abundantly clear that this choice movement that emerged in the 90s was the invention of a coalition of Black activists, underline that, Black activists and conservative lawmakers. And I can't think of two groups now that are more divided than Black activists and conservative lawmakers all these years later. What do you make of that reality?
If you read Derek Bell, it's predictable. Derek Bell had this idea of alliances and how they're made and how they're broken. He says, white folks will support Black folks as long as they're aligned, as long as their interests coincide. But once that doesn't happen anymore, it's an end of the alliance. The choice narrative historically is a perfect illustration of Derek Bell's theory about temporary alliances and how Black people are always at the shorter end of the stick.
The bottom of the well. The bottom of the well.
Bottom of the well.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so clear illustration of this. I mean, I came upon Derek Bell's work because one of the people who I profiled, who I worked very closely with, was very close to Bell and had an influence on him. His name is Ron Edmonds. I mentioned him before. And, they explained it very clearly, and it's not hard to understand when you read it and take it at first value. We can't argue with the facts, and the facts are there, and we're not educating Black and brown kids the way we should. And there's got to be an alternative.
Yeah. Talk to me about Black parents, Black teachers in this frame, as you will.
Well, there's this, when you talk about, there's a myth about Black parents. I think it's a racist myth. When you talk about charter schools, for example, it's clear that kids who go to charter schools excel. And so what critics will say, well, you know what? That's the parents who are very well motivated. And that's why those kids excel, but it's not a real monitor or measure of how well those schools perform. And it's not, what they're suggesting is it's not a real sample of the population. Their assumption is that Black parents don't care about education, that they don't value it. And there's all kinds of indications in this book, speaking to parents, speaking to advocates. Go back to read the work of Stokely Carmichael, which I'm sure you have. For me, I don't need to tell you this. And, the idea that education is very important in the Black community, and to suggest that they're not as motivated as others is a fundamentally racist assumption. And that's what people come back with when you say, well, these kids who went to charter schools are doing pretty well. They say, well, they're not really typical Black parents. Why not?
Yeah.
Because they're succeeding. And so, I mean, the wonderful thing about working with great thinkers, this book was, somebody once asked me when I was doing an interview, how did I get to where I am in my thinking about this? I started working in the New York City public school in the late 70s, and I worked in Boston and I worked in San Francisco. And they said, how do you get to where you are? And I said, and I started thinking about the people I worked with and the influence I had. We white folks, if we want to take education seriously, and we have to deal with the issue of race because it's a prominent part of the story of our failure. If you don't talk to those people who are most affected by it and who feel it in their bones, then you're missing the whole point.
Yeah.
And so, there are 3 people who I profile in this. You're wonderful. I mean, the one thing about the book that really was a great revelation to me is how, when I thought about these people, I didn't connect them right away. I knew there might have been some connection, but their stories blend so well into a significant narrative. And you see that, you got to listen to other people. You've got to listen to the people who are suffering the most if you want to understand the failure. And that's what I tried to do in this. This is not a white guy writing a book about what Black people should do.
Yeah.
This is a white guy who's writing a book about what he learned from Black people.
Yep. I got 2 minutes left. Let me give it all to you right quick. And I think this is the exit question. And I wish I had more time to really delve into this, but you'll take my point. How do I read the fact that the group of Americans who are fastest embracing the notion of homeschooling are Black folk? In this moment, the group that is outpacing everybody else with regard to homeschooling their kids happen to be Black folk. I read that how? You read that how?
For the same reason that they're the first ones to go to charter schools and the first ones to take care of them. They're looking for an alternative. They know their schools are not working. There's story after story in the book about that, from people from Harlem to Milwaukee to Cleveland, about schools that don't work. They know it. You don't need a PhD in education to figure that out. If your kid is in one of those schools, you know it's not working. And when you're given an alternative, you've got nothing to lose, so you take it.
The book is called Radical Dreamers, Race, Choice, and the Failure of American Education. I love the humility of Professor Viteritti, who said moments ago, as you just heard, there's not a white guy telling Black folk or others what they ought to be doing. It's a white guy writing a book about what he has learned from Black parents and Black students and Black educators. Again, the text is called Radical Dreamers, Race, Choice, and the Failure of American Education, written by the professor at Hunter College, Joseph P. Viteritti. Professor, thanks for the text. Thanks for the conversation. Good to have you on this program, sir. All the best.
Thank you, Tavis.
My great honor to have you on. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth slammed DEI and politics in the military during a major meeting in Quantico, Virginia. He said the armed forces must do better.
The new War Department golden rule is this: do unto your unit as you would have done unto your own child's unit.
President Trump also spoke, calling the event a chance to highlight military progress. Governor Landry is asking the federal government to activate up to 1,000 National Guard troops to help fight rising crime in Baton Rouge, Shreveport, and New Orleans, Louisiana. The year-long deployment would support local police, but approval is still pending. And Reading Rainbow is back after 19 years, streaming on YouTube's Kidzuko channel on October 4th. The show features celebrity guests and aims to inspire young readers. It returns as PBS faces funding challenges. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The stage is set for MLB's postseason.
How good was that?
October hits different. Watch baseball at its finest. Postseason 2025. Major League Baseball. Trademarks used with permission.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
For the first time in his 8 years with the Lakers, LeBron is entering the season with an expiring contract. LeBron, who turns 41 on December 30th, will be an unrestricted free agent after his 23rd NBA season. Despite LeBron's uncertain future with the Lakers, he told reporters at the Lakers media day that he's not worried about his contract situation. LeBron has a one-year deal with the Lakers for $52.6 million. He gave no indication of a possible timeline for retirement, but he did confirm that he has no intention of waiting to see if his youngest son, Bryce, will reach the NBA. Bryce is a freshman forward at the University of Arizona. Unlike his brother Bronny, Bryce is not considered a one-and-done prospect for the NBA draft in 2026. Bryce could be at Arizona for a couple of years. By that time, it's very possible LeBron's retirement plans will no longer be a mystery. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the voice of reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hard rock style is coming to the Central Valley, just 30 minutes south of Bakersfield off Route 99. You'll find world-class gaming and entertainment. Less drive time equals more playtime. The all-new Hard Rock Casino Tejon. Opening soon.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah. Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Hey, KBLA 1580 delegation, your health matters to us. We know that information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at KBLA1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community-focused. So just go to KBLA1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and actor Quentin Plair, best known for Welcome to Chippendales and Tiny Little Things. He is here to preview his latest role as Coach Byrd in the highly anticipated new series called Chad Powers, which releases today on Hulu. Take a listen.
Face it, son. This holiday's athletic career is over.
You're toxic. I'm gonna do a Mrs. Doubtfire, but with football.
Who's 200?
My name's Chad Powers.
He's like extremely ugly.
Where are you from?
West Virginia. If you go west in West Virginia, the west is of the west.
Who is that guy?
All right, Quentin, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in the studio.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Tell me about Chad Powers.
Oh, Chad Powers. It's a college football story. I don't know if you saw the Eli Manning skit that he did some years ago. He goes and poses as a walk-on, and this was Glenn Powell and Michael Waldron's take on that. So Chad, he comes in. He's a disgraced college football player. He's been out for 8 years, and we have a walk-on tryout. He comes in to come be our quarterback and has to put on prosthetics to do it, and then from there, hilarity ensues. So.
Yeah. Coach Byrd is your character.
Yes.
Saying about Coach Byrd.
Yeah, Coach Byrd, I based him on some college coaches that I had. I wanted him to be tough. I wanted him to be primarily tough, but a really good offensive coordinator. I've seen it myself. I played football in college at the University of North Carolina, and I just really wanted to base him and make him really grounded, because I know the show, it's a bit of a crazy show, so you got to have some balance in there.
Yeah. You say North Carolina?
Yeah, North Carolina.
Bill Belichick?
Now Bill Belichick. He's not who I played for, but yeah, now
no,
Bill Belichick.
I'm being funny. I'm just being funny. What? Since you went there, you would see. What is your read of the Bill Belichick era just getting started?
I mean, he's such an incredible coach.
Right.
It's interesting to see, because there's things that are going on that I don't know he would have ever allowed at when he was at New England.
Yeah.
But when you have a mind like that, and the rest of the team that they've hired, the GM and everything, you just got to assume they're going to turn around. They're just too many people that know football too well for them to not be a top team in college. So.
And see, in my view, that is somewhat different. I'm not suggesting. First of all, you never bet against Bill Belichick.
Yeah, for sure.
To your point, you got a brilliant football mind. Of course, for you football fans, you already know this. Bill Belichick, a long time with New England Patriots, all of those championships with Tom Brady. Now he's coaching college football at University of North Carolina, where Quentin Plair played football.
Yeah.
And my read, not to get too deep into the weeds, is I'm always curious as to whether or not coaches in the NFL can do it at the college level. And I feel the same way about college coaches who then jump to the NFL. And certainly at Belichick's age, talking to young men who could be his grandkids, great grandkids. I don't know. It's like Luther's curl back in the 80s. It never really quite curled. I don't know if Belichick can pull this off. And I don't want to bet against him.
Yeah.
But it's a very different game in college than it is at the.
It is. I think schematically, though, he's just so elite.
Yeah.
There,
I grant you that. Yeah.
I think the thing is just got to be: is he locked in?
Yeah.
The stuff with the stuff with the girlfriend. It feels like.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like the Belichick I know, with Brady and them, but always behind him, and you just, like you said, you just can't count against that man.
Yeah.
So I'm there to watch, and I hope they do. I hope they turn around.
Well, that was a pivot, but you can't mention North Carolina these days.
Without that coming up,
without mentioning Bill Belichick. So I just went there because you went there. You opened the lane for me, so I had to go in that direction for a second. So this is your second, third Hulu project?
Third
one.
Yeah, I believe so.
And I was saying to Quentin during the break before we came on the air here, that I think Hulu is coming on. I mean, Netflix is Netflix, no question about it. Amazon is Amazon, but I think Hulu is really, really coming on with some of the stuff they're doing. What's been your experience now that you've done 3 projects at Hulu?
Yeah, I the first one was Welcome to Chippendales, and it was just such an incredible experience. The day that I stepped on the set, it just felt so authentic to the time period. It was such an interesting story, and I love to be able to play real people and portray them in that way. Then to Tiny Beautiful Things, which I literally went the day that we ended Chippendales, the next day I started Tiny Beautiful Things, and to get to act next to Catherine Hahn in that kind of intimate setting, and it was just so different from Chippendales and so different from Chad Powers. I really loved it just because I was able to show just the range that I have. And now to Chad Powers, this out of the 3 was the biggest, I think, biggest budget, biggest just overall set. I mean, we're in entire, college football stadiums that were packed full capacity. And the quality, it's just a beautifully shot show as well. And I think it just shows like Hulu is stepping into so many different venues. All 3 of those shows feel completely different. And I think that's what you get if you go to that network.
Since it premieres today, Chad Powers on Hulu, what is it about this storyline that you think is going to be resonant with viewers?
Well, I think it's just so authentic. When you sometimes, and I love
authentic in which ways? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I love sports shows. So when you go to sports shows, usually they're fake teams, they're fake conferences, all that. We have the real SEC logo. We have real ESPN commentators and announcers, and we've got real teams in it. Not their actual teams, but they're real uniforms. We've got Ole Miss, we've got Tennessee, Oregon, Georgia. And so I think a college football fan, when you turn the show on and you see these brands that you're familiar with, it just drops you into the world. There's no disassociating. You can really connect. And seeing that, I think it just makes it that much more authentic. It makes it that much more real, despite the actual topic of the show being so outlandish.
You mentioned a moment ago that you love playing real people. Every thespian has his or her choices and preferences. Why the turn on to play real people?
I think for me, it's the ability, pun intended, to put on a mask. And the pun is, Chad puts on the mask.
Sure,
But yeah, for me, it's harder for me when a role is close to me, because I don't know, some of the insecurities, some of those things get in the way. When it's somebody else, especially when it's somebody far away from me, I can just study them, and I feel like I can just fall into that, and that's just something I really love to do. Plus, when I got into this, I got into it because I wanted to just have a little dip into multiple other lives. And so playing real people, like I've got a movie coming out in December where I played, a real person who went to the NFL, and it's just beautiful. It's just something I don't take lightly. I take it with real honor, and it's always been the things I've enjoyed most.
Well, you suggested earlier, I don't know if that slipped out or not, that when you're playing people too close to you, insecurities show up. Unpack that for me.
Yeah,
I heard that.
No. I just think it's tough. For me, I wasn't always the most confident kid growing up, and so I think sometimes, acting can be a bit of a mask. You can be somebody else. You can be the most popular kid in school, or you can be the least popular, the emo. You can just go into all these different lives. It's always been really attractive to me. But when it's too close to me, I don't know. It just feels like too much of my own thing gets in there, and I don't know. It just makes it rough on me to play those.
There are a number of buckets that I could dip into to make the point that I want to make now. But I'm thinking of different professions, different types of people who have chosen to get into the acting thing. So I'm thinking of all these rappers who have become actors. In your case, I'm thinking of a number of athletes who have become actors. Chief among them these days would be The Rock, I guess.
Of course.
Dwayne. I guess we got to call him Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Days. Can't call him The Rock no more. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
I still call him. I love Dwayne Johnson.
So now we call him Dwayne Johnson, but he's acquitted himself quite nicely, of course.
Yes.
In the acting realm. But there are John David, Denzel's son.
Absolutely.
Played football at Morehouse.
Absolutely.
Played for the Rams and here in St. Louis. So I think there are a number of actors, a number of athletes rather, who have moved moved into the acting realm. I want to talk about that part since you're a part of that crowd. When we come forward, his name is Quentin Plair. He's playing Coach Byrd in the new Hulu series. Chad Powers releases today. More with him when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte. Let's preserve Black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from Black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, Black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of Black land lost before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling Black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic Black narrative archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandlost.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Made fresh daily in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Quentin Plair, who is in Chad Powers, which premieres today again on Hulu. Glad to have him here on premiere day. He plays Coach Byrd. So I was saying a moment ago, there are a number of athletes that I can think of now, again, chief among them, Dwayne Johnson, who've made the switch from being athlete to being actor. Tell me about your journey in that regard.
I mean, my journey, I was the type of kid who always knew what he wanted. Mm-hmm. And so at a young age, I was like, I want to act. I want to go to the NFL first, play for 6 years to where you get pension. And then whenever I retire, that's when I'll start
your plan laid out, huh?
Yeah. Until I got to college and realized, I'm not good enough for the NFL. Mm-hmm. Once I graduated, once I stopped playing there, I was just like, all right, well, it's time to start the acting career. Yeah. I started kicking it around the Southeast, found an agent, and really went out. Moved out to Los Angeles in 2018 and just been able to find some success since then. So,
you said something a moment ago that really jumped out at me, and in part because I resonate with it. Mm-hmm. So I always wanted to be a professional baseball player, first baseman. Grew up in Indiana, big fan of Cincinnati Reds back then. Cincinnati, the big red machine was winning. You were too young for this, but the big red machine was winning world championships. So I was actually a pretty good baseball player, and first base again was my position. And then it got to a point where I realized that I was not good enough to be a Major League Baseball player. I was good. I really enjoyed the game, but I remember like yesterday, and again, your comment just jumped out at me. I remember this epiphany I had that I am not good enough to be a Major League Baseball player. And there's something about acknowledging to yourself what you are great at, what you're good at, and what you will never be tops at.
Yeah.
And then it sets you in the right direction. It sets you on the right path. But that's a very difficult thing for some people, to be honest with themselves, especially at such a young age, that I really love this, but I don't think I'm good enough to take it to top tier. So let me get on the good foot, or get on the right path to what God really is calling for me to do, what I'm really gifted at. Tell me about that revelation, how you came to accept that. Because I know that feeling. I had to make that decision. I ain't gonna be a baseball player.
Yeah.
But here's what I can do, and things have worked out.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it wasn't easy accepting it, but it was very easy to realize it. You know, one of the first days that I'm out at practice, I'm playing cornerback, and I'm going up against Hakeem Nicks. Now Hakeem Nicks, he gets he gets drafted.
Say less.
So he gets.
Miles started laughing.
So
Hakeem Nicks, say less. Yeah.
So funny story, you know, Hakeem actually went and won the Super Bowl with Eli. So when I met Eli, I was able to tell him, like, yo, I played with Hakeem Nicks underneath him. Great guy. But I get out there and I'm trying to defend him, and it's not going well. This is not going well at all. And I'm like, man, you know, this is the kind of guys that are going to be in the NFL. And so I think the hardest thing is, though, when you're an athlete, at a point when you realize you aren't going to be able to play anymore, that part of you just dies. And it's something you never get back from anything else. And so while it was easy to realize I wasn't good enough, dealing with the fact that I wasn't good enough, that was the tough part. Just realizing, like, man, this adrenaline, this thing that I get by playing, I'm never going to get that again. And so that was tough. I do love what I do now. I really do. And I get a lot of adrenaline, a lot of the competitive juices out through that. But it's something special about when we're able to compete in athletics versus other people that, you know, some you never quite get back.
And the flip side of that is, I know too many people who could not come to terms with not being good enough to be a pro. And because they've only had one dream, because you start playing football in Pee Wee League when you're 3 years old, basically, that's the only thing you ever know. And so they get to the point where they realize, or have to accept the reality, that they're not good enough to go to that level, college, or certainly not pro, and they don't know what to do. And they just wander around, and it takes them a long time. Some people never figure out what that gift, what their calling is, how they show up in the world beyond being an athlete. I digress on that for now. I'm glad you didn't have that problem, which is why he's starring in Chad Powers, out today on Hulu. Our Remaining Moments with Quentin Plair, when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. Pick up for 40 days of consistency. On low Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33, and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yeah.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada. Member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Quentin Plair, actor who stars as Coach Byrd in the highly anticipated new series called Chad Powers. Releases today on Hulu. I got just a couple minutes left here. So how many episodes is this first season?
Six
episodes.
6, yeah.
I know you can't tell me much about the story arc, but what can you tell me about this first season?
I can tell you that it starts with a quarterback who makes a kind of bonehead play, and 8 years pass. Rough 8 years for this. Rough 8 years for this young man, and he comes in.
Bonehead play like Chris Webber calling timeout when there was no timeout.
About exactly that bonehead.
Hey, I love C Webb. I love C Webb, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the Adonai Mitchell play where he fumbled the ball. It's that exact play essentially.
I got you.
And then he hears that a team, the South Georgia Catfish, are having open tryouts. He tries out for our team. He is still extremely talented, but in order to protect himself from who he was, has to put on the prosthetic mask and has to adopt a new identity. And
the rest of they say,
the rest of they say is history.
The rest of they say is the series. Yeah. So how are you feeling about the way this is going to be received? The third Hulu project. So this is nothing new for you, and yet every time you do a new project on release day, I'm sure you got a little butterflies.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You always have anxiety with that coming along. I hope that people receive it well. I think it's a fun, fast show, an easy watch. Comedy is I think something that you always need, just somebody to take off the heaviness of the day. And like I said, I think the authenticity is really going to appeal to our target audience, which is anybody who loves college football should love this show.
Well, the timing of the release of it, Hulu knows what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
dropping it today in the midst of the college football season. You mentioned a movie earlier. You've already shot that?
Yes, we have. It's going to come out December 5th. Not Without Hope. Really excited about this. It's actually four men, two of them NFL players, go off the coast of Tampa and get caught in a hurricane. Their boat flips over and they're in the water for days and have to struggle to survive. So,
real people.
Real people.
You love playing them.
Yeah, I do.
Look forward to that. Quentin Plair, again, one of the stars of the new Chad Power series, again, dropping today on Hulu. He plays Coach Byrd. Quentin, all the best. Thanks for coming to the studio. Thank you so much. Appreciate meeting you, man. Thank you for the opportunity. It was an honor. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Back here tomorrow, Lord willing, to do it all over again. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in to Tavis Smiley. And as always, stay safe.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth slammed DEI and politics in the military during a major meeting in Quantico, Virginia. He said the armed forces must do better.
The new War Department golden rule is this: do unto your unit as you would have done unto your own child's unit.